While we continue getting comfortable in the space, I guess I'll just talk a little bit more and make everybody feel comfortable and at ease. So I see there's 4 non-video participants. There are some people on the Zoom call, and I'm monitoring my phone for the Facebookers. And so I will be helping field your questions to the Pleiadians. And I was just saying a few things. So Dante, like, just feel free to jump in whenever you want. I encourage everybody
I'm
to
ready.
stay. Oh yeah, cool, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you so much for hosting today, Ocean. Really appreciate you being here. It should be a fun one. Oh no. There. So, taking a moment, we're going to tune in a second for the live stream today. And we do this every week on Friday around 11:11 Pacific time. So we're actually close to the time today, which is a shocking success. This works best if you unmute yourself when you're ready to ask a question and the person before you is totally and completely complete with their interaction. And just take your time and enjoy the connection, and know that beyond the words, there's this energy transmission that comes through with channeling that is part of a gift we're sharing. And if you are a little bit shy, you can type your question into the live chat. You can also type it into the Facebook comments. And we do prioritize people who do come on the webcam, or at least come into audio. It doesn't matter if we see you or not. Know that all of this is being recorded, so people, of course, on Facebook can listen in, and also people on YouTube can watch back. I have a YouTube channel there, youtube.com/blissbeings. Name is Dante Starshine. You can follow me there. I'm on Instagram too. So on whatever platform you view this, thumbs up is great. Pass it around and let everybody know. I'm available for one-to-one sessions, and the channeling course will launch again in October. I'm theoretically doing a Reiki course, but we'll see if people sign up. Enjoy your time today, and I don't know if anyone else has something important to share about the mechanics of this that I forgot.
No, let's see. I think you got it. Yeah, if you're in the Zoom room, it's best to just unmute yourself and go ahead and talk. And then Ocean's going to answer your questions if you write them out on Facebook live stream, on Dante's page, or here in the Zoom room. There you go.
Yeah. And make sure you're muted. And Ocean, you can mute people if they're bringing background sound in, or even if they're just not talking at all. Just make sure everybody's muted, and only unmute yourself if you have something to say. So yeah, we'll begin. Hello, and we say a good day to each and every one of you. This moment of time, and it is our great pleasure to establish contact with you again in this way. So we thank you for tuning into this transmission and receiving this energy, this information, and integrating it in your life in the ways that you do, as this is part of how you manifest this process on your planet, you know, to be ascension, coming into greater contact and alignment with higher frequency energies, and transforming your whole world literally into a new dimension of existence. So we thank you. We as the Pleiadian Council speak on behalf of many, including the Galactic Alliance, who wish to support this process of ascension And now, today we would like to begin by speaking about a couple of different themes and hopefully tying them together, or perhaps not. First of all, something that we often say to you is that you are shifting between billions of parallel realities in every nanosecond, meaning that every slight change in your vibration actually brings you into a new universe. You seem to experience time through these linear snapshots, yet really you manifest the world around you through your vibration, and it is always, always changing faster than you can even perceive. When you make the slightest shift, you're in a new world. We also say that everybody in this reality is experiencing a parallel reality. And as you align with ascension, you, in a way, converge with many who are choosing that parallel reality. And as others choose other experiences, they align with more negative parallel realities. So what you are witnessing now on your planet is a splitting of all of these different parallel realities as you move progressively into what you call the future. The distance between these parallel realities becomes further and further until they literally split into different dimensions entirely. And many of you become alarmed when you look out to your world, and what you see are parallel realities that are not actually reflective of your present experience. You can, of course, like we do, reach out to other parallel realities to be of service, though you cannot actually be of service by lowering your frequency to one of suffering to help those who are also in that frequency of suffering. You must instead keep your frequency at a level of love, connection, passion, compassion, to allow that passion to reach others, and through compassion create a co-creation of passion. So that is what you may be doing as you continue to, again, follow the pathway of your own heart that leads you to greater and greater states of unconditional love, which is, again, the way that you as humans translate reality itself. In your dimension, reality is experienced in its truest state as unconditional love. So you are not reaching for something that is higher or beyond you. You are simply coming to experience reality for what it really is as you listen to your heart and choose what makes you feel the greatest degree of unconditional love. So we want to now speak about this idea of the future, because many of you get concerned with what happens in the future. Again, as we have said, many different parallel realities coexist, and you line up with the vibration that you match in your being. That becomes your future reality. So while you may not be certain of the exact things that will happen, you may come to know that what you will experience in the future will feel the way that you feel right now by aligning your own personal vibration. And many of you, rather than aligning with your highest potential future, instead try to avoid negative futures. And when you focus more on what you don't want than what you do, you become a greater magnet for what you don't want, paradoxically. And you may see this with many of the idea of conspiracies and negative reservoirs of energy that are expressing into your world. When you focus upon them, you allow the negative effect to be stronger. When you shift your focus to what you are capable of doing to make yourself higher and higher frequency, then those negative things cannot have the same effect they do on you as they have on other people who are only focused on the negative frequencies. A prime example of this is Wi-Fi and these different signals that are broadcast. Many will notice that once they become aware that this is bad for them, it starts to have a much more negative effect than before they had any conscience or idea that it was a positive or a negative thing. So you can use anything that seems negative in a positive way. So another thing that relates to this idea of the future, but also relates to what you are creating in the present, in your collective, is this idea of certainty and uncertainty. Now, uncertainty has been experienced mostly as negative from the level of consciousness most humans have been choosing to operate at. Yet, in order to fully ascend, and in order to fully line up with the highest probable parallel reality future, you have to learn to make uncertainty a good thing. Uncertainty can be uncomfortable because the fear-based conditioning and the belief systems it creates makes you want to look outside of yourself in order to find all of the things that may go wrong. And therefore, when you don't know what is coming, you may automatically assume that something negative is coming. But when you come to transcend those beliefs more entirely and come to embrace the reality that you choose what you experience, you tap into a whole new level of creatorship. Now, you may come to see how this fear of not knowing leads many to draw false conclusions and perpetuate the fear-based experience that brings people to come to be certain when they are not certain. There are many things about your world now that you do not have the power to come to a definitive conclusion about. Many different sources of information that claim to be correct contradict each other. And this can, from this place of negative focus, make you feel as if you can trust nothing, and make you feel as if you must choose, when in fact you are always choosing, but you don't need to choose between these two contradictory ideas. You can instead choose to remain uncertain and allow yourself to come to feel comfortable in the experience of uncertainty. So even quantumly, you could say, if you look at it from this perspective that has been derived in a sense, or rather remembered from studies relating to quantum physics, phenomena that you observe changes through your observation of it. And the same is true about greater collective phenomena. If you are truly infinitely shifting through many parallel realities every nanosecond, then the way that you choose to view a situation, the perspective, the angle that you take upon it, is going to change the whole situation. And when instead of allowing fear to drive you to come to conclusions, you embrace that perhaps this is true and perhaps that is true. Perhaps this may happen, perhaps that may happen. I do not know. Yet, right now, do I have everything I need to thrive? And if you really bring yourself fully into the present, and instead of preparing for the worst case scenario, prepare for today and maybe tomorrow. Prepare for right now. Realizing the energy you put out will affect what comes back to you. Realizing that negative circumstances can make you stronger when you use them in a positive way. Realizing that the way you view the situations will affect what comes to be. It is actually this fear-based quest to come to definitive truths that has motivated so much of your study in the world. And as you can probably tell by looking at your history, you were very much certain about some things that were later proved to be true. You later came to realize that things that you once perceived as true were false. And so come to understand and experience how malleable your reality is. It is much like Play-Doh, so play with it. Instead of fearing what may come to you, realize that through love, you attract better circumstances and you transmute and alchemize all circumstances you don't prefer. There is nothing to fear. There is very much to be aware of. Yet if some potential truth about your reality is experienced within your body and in your direct experience as something that makes you contract or tighten, it is either not the full truth or you are experiencing that truth through a negative fear-based belief that is causing pain, causing a contraction and an illusion of your true power to create and transform. So we hope that helps you in navigating these windows, knowing that your ability to stay open, to drop insistence, to drop that need to know will support you. And again, we always speak about this idea of, oh, excuse the channel's body again, dropping into your heart to allow the frequency of love to guide you into your highest potential pathway. And as you do that, in every moment, you will know exactly what you need to know. And what you do not know, you do not need to know. Much information you can apprehend through the intuitive faculty of your heart, which again directly taps you into your own higher mind. Yet, if you don't know it in the moment, wait and work with what you do know. And wait until that moment that you can be absolutely certain, both from the logical, left-brained perspective and the intuitive, right-brained perspective, that what you are perceiving is genuine truth. So great thanks and love to you. We thank you very much for receiving this transmission, this moment of your time, and now we would be happy to continue to assist through your questions and reflections and anything you would wish to share with us, at us, same thing.
Thank you so much, Pleiadians. So I just want to help guide the questioners to you, and I'm happy to acknowledge Chris, who wants to ask a question. So if Chris would like to just go ahead and press the unmute button, I would hope that he could connect to you now and speak his question to you.
All right, yes.
Thanks, Ocean. And hey, good morning.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got a question, maybe two, if we've got time.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you about the line, or like the balance point in between the idea of doing meaningful shadow work and healing processes with someone who's serving as a facilitating reflection for that, versus getting stuck in a healing trap where you're complaining and re-triggering yourself and getting yourself stuck in the disempowerment by constantly working on it with someone? Like, how do you know where that sweet spot is where you're doing meaningful processes that help take the old gunk out, but you're not continually unnecessarily creating negativity for yourself?
Well, understand first of all that the process is the point, yes. Though it is also important to have meaningful trajectory, to again continue to follow all of those breadcrumbs that continue to expand that state of passion and the idea that you describe now as shadow work, or more directly put, excavating negative belief systems, is something that you must do when you need to do it. So if excavating negative belief systems becomes the means to the end of following your passion, then it actually undermines the whole process. If you direct yourself from your heart-centered place to simply follow what makes you expand, and in those moments where you feel a contraction arising, where you feel a negative belief system arising, you use any sort of reflection, whether it's a teacher, guide, some sort of resource to aid in that process, then it is useful and it serves you. Now, even when the guide or the mentor is doing their very best and is in their own highest alignment, if you are mistaking their role, then it will hinder that experience as well. Because all learning, all growth, all expansion comes from your direct connection to your higher self. The words we are saying, the words anyone is saying, is only something that helps you to remember the message your higher self is already sending you, but your mind, for whatever reason, has difficulty remembering right away. So if you think you must learn from the other person, you will trap yourself. If you see the other person as a reflection that helps you to tap into your own innate connection, then that person can be of service. And it again has less to do with the other person and more to do with your relationship to that person, teaching, or channeled being. Does that help you?
Yeah, that makes really beautiful sense. It's about understanding that there are permission slips that I'm using for my process, and also using the driving force of synchronicity to tell me when it's time to do work on something, rather than habitually constantly going to the well out of some idea that like there's something wrong with me that needs to be continually worked on, rather to wait for something to come up and then to self-lovingly use this person as a resource to help me access my own power to transform.
Yes, precisely. You have translated that through your own connection to your higher self in the perfect way for you at this time.
Cool, thank you. So then the other thing I was curious about today is, it's cool. I just had a one-on-one session with Bashar a couple days ago, and we talked about this a little bit about, I got some clarification around his teachings about reincarnation, where
Yes.
Bashar often teaches that it's not actually what's happening. You are only this individual right now, and this is who you always are, but there's kind of continuance to, and I guess there's a lot of teachings out there that I really resonate with and work with astrologically and otherwise, where the model of soul is that there's all these parallel lives going on at the same time, and in some way they share energy. So the traumas, the blocks, the disempowerment that I'm working through now is connected to other lives where I've had similar themes going on. But then I also resonate with Bashar's more mechanical approach of talking about what's really going on, and that you're just this one leaf on the branch of the tree, and you're always going to be that leaf, but your oversoul can be lots of leaves and so on. And so I'm just wondering how to try to connect the two and understand how to use both teachings.
All right. Well, we, in a sense, align very much with that information shared by this being known as the Bashar. And what we would emphasize again is that all of these other lifetimes always exist, yet you make connections with different of these lifetimes to allow certain energies to bleed through into this present experience based on the need and based on the vibration that you put out. So as you move through your life for a significant period of time, you may be making many connections to certain lifetimes. And then in the next phase, you may be making connections with different lifetimes. And if you want to align this with astrology, you also understand that there are many transit points where planets line up or oppose or relate to each other through these different angles of sorts. And you can use those points as pivot points to recognize that perhaps through synchronicity, if you bring your focus to those systems, those points may indicate moments in which your focus shifts from one of these parallel lifetimes to a different one.
So what I'm getting from that is that if I'm this being right here, and if I have some vibration going on where there's a trauma or a disempowerment or a pain that I'm vibrating, that I'm holding in my like lower chakras or something, it's not that it's coming from other parallel lives, but it's that because I'm vibrating that, it causes me to cross connect with these other lifetimes that I can use as sort of image points to reference and work with the energy from other angles. But it's not coming from them, it's just working with them to undo the energy that's here now.
Yes. You are making a connection through this law of resonance or law of vibration, law of attraction, however you want to put it, because your current vibration is representative of what you consider a trauma. The same sort of trauma is reflected when you make connections to these other aspects of your oversoul, also known as past lives. And you may, as you change that trauma and resolve it within yourself, make connections to other past or future lives, or you may make connections with different parallel reality versions of that same soul. Not the same being, of course, because a healed version of that soul versus a non-healed version are actually two different beings in two different timelines. Though the connection you make to the same personality that you may come to understand may change as well. You may connect with the version of that personality that did not have the same experiences. And in this way, using a past life regression meditation with the specific intention of viewing these different timelines and then co-creating with that other soul to shift into a timeline where that trauma did not occur, that can be a way that you also resolve that trauma within yourself.
What comes up for me to clarify there is then, but it is true though that there's an oversoul that I'm a part of and it's connected to other lives like it's actually connected to other lives simultaneously.
It contains more than it's connected to.
Contains. And then is there any bleed over or energetic exchange with the other lives of my same oversoul, or how does that work?
Yes, always. Though again, you are making different connections in every moment based upon your current present vibration. And not only are you making connections to different souls, as you shift your personal vibration, you're connecting to different versions of those souls. So say, for example, now you carry a trauma of betrayal. And because of that experience of betrayal and the vibration it creates in your energetic body, you may be connecting to a figure like a Julius Caesar. We are not saying that you're directly making this connection. This is hypothetical. Yet, if you would change that trauma, change that experience of betrayal, you would connect to a version of Julius Caesar who was not betrayed.
Okay, cool. Thank you. That's I'm gonna listen back and chew on this and
Yes.
such. I don't see anyone else having raised their hands yet, so I do have
I have
another.
a question.
Okay, then I'll give it up. Thank you.
Okay,
ahead, Sarah.
I have just a
Thank you very
short
much.
question. Chris, you could come back and
Yes.
probably ask yours. I just wondered if you guys have any kind of feedback or information for us about the California fires that are going on right now. I have a lot of dear friends that are, you know, having to evacuate, and so many trees, old growth trees, are dying. And I just really wonder if there's a higher perspective or a sense of some kind of opportunity in this great upheaval. Yeah.
If you use this as an energy of transformation, it can be used in a positive way. Of course, there will still be some challenge to this experience. Now, while this region may continue to be habitable for great portions of the year, understand that this is something that is almost difficult to shift away from at this point of your time, unless there are great shifts in how you relate to the pollution in the environment, and how you may come to remember certain indigenous practices that were used to reduce forest fires or protect certain areas from them. And this is something that those individuals can choose to do, and it may slow this process and reduce the aspects of this environmental change that are caused by man. And as well, we would say that this is a region that experiences, in a sense, a greater geomagnetic stress. And eventually, this area will drift into the ocean. It will become a series of islands. The landscape will become more arid. And so you are witnessing a gradual change in the environment here.
Mm-hmm. So, so you're saying that, I mean, what kind of a timeline are we looking at for when it's actually going to slip into the ocean?
Some hundreds of years, yet this sort of experience will continue.
So I'm wondering if the people down there are already connecting with indigenous people to help them learn fire prevention practices.
Much of this must be remembered, understanding that even some of these cultures have forgotten the old ways as their lifestyle has changed. And it will take a great deal of investigation and dedication on behalf of those who wish to create this change.
So this is my last little piece of this. I was reading that there were like 11,000 lightning strikes in the last 72 hours. And I just wondered, like, if there's a certain, I don't know, connection to the lightning, is the lightning connected to solar flashing? Is it connected to universal energies? Is it connected to the Earth's emotional body? Like, what's causing so much lightning?
Yes, it is connected to the Earth's emotional body. So part of what is creating this shift is the degree of negative fear-based energy that is being released from the human consciousness in general at this time, then manifesting as certain weather patterns. And you can see these changes not only occurring in this region of California, but as manifesting as certain tropical storms in different areas as well.
Got it. I have one little last piece. Are the trees transmuting some of the negative energy, like the black goo in the earth, to try to help to be able to help the earth receive more light without so much quaking?
Without so much what?
Earthquaking?
No.
Okay.
The trees are going through a process of transformation. Your environment is going through transformation. And the earthquakes are also an expression of that transformation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, so thanks to you as well.
So I'm just going to reflect in from the chat that other people resonated with that wonderful question. Chris said that was literally the question I was going to ask, and Nicole said same. And Chris said, yeah, he wanted to ask for a comment on the meaning of this reflection about the fires is what it represents in the collective. So I think that there was a lot of interest in that question.
Yes.
And if you feel complete, Pleiadians, with that question, there's a question from Facebook, and other people can feel free to speak up. But I guess I can read the Facebook question now.
All right.
Real quick. Yeah, Natalia says, hi, my unconditional love to you. I would like to get any message for me. Heart emoji, heart emoji, heart emoji. Thank you. Also, do I have any encounters in this 2 to 3 months period? If yes, what races? I think she might be referring to extraterrestrial encounters. I'm not sure.
Yes.
And then she says, they say, thank you so much.
Yes, yes. All right, we don't do dry reads on personal energy systems, but we will speak to the idea of contact. And there are many opportunities for contact. And these opportunities do increase around the time of the full moons. And when you immerse yourself in the presence of stars and understand, first of all, that the craft are always there. But sometimes, most of the time really, you are not of a vibrational level to be able to perceive the craft. So as you raise your personal vibration and come into a more expanded interdimensional state, the craft that are always there will make themselves available. And generally around these times of the moon being full, you have a sort of natural assistance in raising your vibration to expand to that level. Now, you also have the opportunity to have contact experiences in your dream state. And it is akin to this message of the more you practice being at that interdimensional level, the more likely it is to happen in your dreams. So you can develop a nightly practice to bring yourself into an easeful sleeping experience and open the veils between the dimensions by meditating in some way that works for you to change the frequency in your body to one that resonates with more love and start to activate your imagination. Going into the dream state, then you can invite or specifically intend that you would like to connect with certain groups. And for you, there is a great resonance with the hybrid races, specifically the Yael. If you would to hold that intention in your being to connect with Yael, those might be the ones that you meet, though if your frequency in any way changes at the time of contact, you may come to meet a different group of beings.
Great. Thank you so much on behalf of Natalia. And we're open to anybody who has a question. They could type it into the Zoom chat, the Facebook comments, or they could go ahead and unmute themselves and they could speak a question over to you all. Jocelyn, no, I thought somebody had a question. Who's ready to unmute?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I went through a mystic experience and I've been in contact with several gatekeepers of deities. And my mystic experience led me to witness, sorry, my English, I still need to improve it. And those mystic experiences led me to witness every plane of causation, the astral world, and then the cosmic world until the deities.
Yes.
And I was wondering, now that Gaia is ascending on the 5th dimension,
yes.
And I can witness from Facebook, there are lots of people awakening spiritually, and it's good to see that. But
yes.
Many of them are getting confused because there are many ways that explain this finest plane. And therefore, we got several and different egregore in the animas mundi, or in collective consciousness. So how can we merge all these different egregore in order to create a real proper oneness? Because otherwise collective will be always split in different egregore by the orders, religions, and beliefs.
Yes.
We need to be. We are all one at the end. We figured it out,
yeah.
right? We are all one consciousness of a huge cosmic body, and we are all entrained by the strongest vibration. And so far, we can see the world is divided because there are all these differences. And how can we improve and make sure that people understand that we are all one, despite these differences and egregores, because all the beliefs lead to a particular egregore, esoteric
yes.
speaking.
All right. You may come to discover that there is a fundamental truth beneath all of these different belief systems and the distortions of them. And when you identify that fundamental truth as being unconditional love, you can then work with that understanding and expand it to dissolve the distortions of unconditional love in certain different religions and esoteric philosophies. When you understand that by your very nature, having a third dimensional perspective causes you to distort experiences you have in higher dimensions through your own belief systems, you can then work to not see these experiences as factual, but instead recognize them as experiences of a certain quality of energy. And the symbols, definitions, meanings, and words especially that you generate out of these qualities of energy are personal and also distorted creations through your beliefs and past experiences. And so when you make your priority to focus less on the symbolic meaning and interpretation of the experience and more on the quality of energy you feel inside, that being one of unconditional love, and you come to recognize that communication is not just an exchange of words, but it is a reflection of this quality of energy that you hold in your being. You can communicate and expand unconditional love through simply vibrating it, holding it in your presence. The more you work from that place of unconditional love, you can then extract again.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we can go beyond unconditional love and reach the absolute, disappear in the void, and then come back again on the plane of physical. I mean, there's more than unconditional love. We can go beyond that. And when you become nothing, then you tap in the real truth and you access to the zero quantum field, and then you witness there's a cosmic divine order which has to be reflected as above, so below.
Yes, to an extent, this is valid, though also you must make sure that you do not attempt to project your consciousness too far. Understand, again, this metaphor of Icarus, the one who attempted to fly as close to the sun as they could possibly get, burned and fell down. This is what many of you do when you attempt to go beyond the level of, in this case, unconditional love. When you attempt to shoot your arrow so far beyond that of your physical reality to a level of energy you cannot actually maintain, you may energetically burn out and fall down. So while there is a level of reality that is beyond unconditional love entirely, unconditional love is the translation of source in the physical dimension. And until everybody on your planet understands unconditional love, it does not serve, it does not have a significant beneficial purpose to go beyond unconditional love, because the point of ascending is to allow everybody here to access that degree of unconditional love so that you can ascend together to those higher realities. You can project your consciousness up to this void level, but again, because you are still bound to a great degree in physical reality, your conscious belief systems and unconscious programming always generate a certain experience that is distorted when you go up to that higher level. And so every time you attempt to do that, you are going to create many different esoteric sorts of systems that may be helpful ladders for certain people and certain frameworks of understanding, but will not be universal. What is universal is unconditional love. And what will help your planet as a whole ascend is unconditional love. Until every single person here has mastered that, your planet cannot go to a quasi-physical or a non-physical state where a different principle beyond unconditional love is more applicable.
I see. But there are lots of gatekeepers of deities as well.
Yes.
And they are, some of them are like an Ark of the Covenant.
Yes.
And therefore able to change the frequency of the ego, like a King Mida, and just by their presence as well, and raise through the biophotons the consciousness of the people just by their own presence and their aura.
Yes. And as we have said, the energy that people experience comes from their higher self, and the avatar or the teacher is simply an embodiment of that frequency that serves as a reflection for individuals to receive that energy from their own higher self. This is useful at this time on your planet, but again, these teachers, these masters are able to do this because of their anchoring in unconditional love.
All right, thank you so much for all of that. So we've got we've got 2 hands raised, and we also have questions being written in the chat and on Facebook. So Laurel and then Manuela. Go ahead, Laurel.
Thank you. Yes, this question is about my brother and myself, of course.
All right.
And I'm going to try to make it as concise as possible, but I think it has multiple layers. So, a little bit about the story is that I've had financial stress, and my brother has quite a lot of money in savings, and I reached out to him a while back and asked for his assistance, and he was willing to give me $500 back then. And once in a great while, he's I think there have been one or two other times when he's helped, but in smaller amounts. But this is the story, and this is the part, as they would say in NVC, nonviolent communications, coming from the jackal mind. I feel like he kind of watches me struggle and knows that I need help, and he might direct me to resources, which are incredibly difficult for me to navigate the bureaucracies. But on another level, I have compassion for him because I know that he's very lonely because, he said, he's sad about family not getting together, and there isn't much family in terms of numbers. So I agreed to go for a walk with him on Sunday. I don't feel in my solar plexus, I don't feel warm and fuzzy about him because he holds so tightly to his money. And in NVC, we learn that if you have a need, if the answer is no from one person, you know that needs can be met in other ways. So I'm kind of just stuck in this place where I think that he should, knowing that it's his money and he gets to do whatever he wants with his money on one level, and another level, he's not as truly helpful in the way that I need him to be. So I don't want to go in this walk and be holding this kind of an attitude on what might you say about this?
All right. As you have described, the energy of compassion is key. Understanding that he, like many who hold on to resources, do so out of fear. And while there may be justifications that uphold that fear, it is really their own fear of lack that can cause them to hold so tightly. So in order to really dissolve this resistance, the energy is then love. And by holding that space of love and compassion for him, which we know you are capable of doing, you may experience other forms of abundance from him, and understand as well that you are sharing abundance with him. You are sharing the abundance of presence, the abundance of communication, the abundance of love. All of these are expressions of abundance, and therefore it is not as if you are not making a valid exchange. So any belief related to that can be cleared and transmuted, and also understand that the way that abundance works is the more unconditionally you give, the more unconditionally you may come to receive. And it does not really deplete you in any way for you to share that conversation, time, presence, love. And the more you do that from a space of true non-resistance, the more that you can receive from perhaps him or from perhaps others. If the answer is no, then there may be others who support you. And now, do not assume as well that the answer is automatically going to be no if you ask again, because you may be perhaps projecting into the situation a no before you have even asked.
Yes, yes. As you were talking, I got in touch with what's underneath the anger, and underneath the anger is hurt, just hurt that
Yes.
he, and so I don't know, and there was another part to it, because I said, like there's levels to this. There's the family conditioning about lack. And I kind of lost track of the other part of it that seemed significant. But at any rate, so if I can just maybe have some self-compassion for the hurt, that it's not coming from him, maybe that would be helpful. At least it's not coming from him at this moment that we speak. To just go like that's my hurt, and
yes,
it doesn't have to be projected as anger toward him. Was that what you would say?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes and no. All right.
Yes. As
okay.
you process the negative belief that it was the result of perhaps traumatic experiences of neglect, and give yourself attention and care, you can open the space to receive love, to receive nurture, perhaps from him or perhaps from other sources. Though understand the nature of this hurt and trauma in general is that it will continue to attract experiences that will get you in touch with it until you are really able to feel all of it and transform it.
Yes, thank you. And along that same line, I have come in touch with this concept, and it sounds valid to me. Now this is being released as we speak, and I'm in more understanding, but I'm just interested in this concept because there might be other times when I'm holding on to judgment. This concept that that when we're unwilling to let go of judgment, there's some need being met by that stuck place where we maybe we're of the understanding that judgment's not where we want to be, but that we are having a hard time getting past the judgment, and that some need is being met through that judgment.
It often creates a false replacement for true safety. So if you believe, in a sense, you need to place others at a distance or place something between you and them in order to be safe from experiencing hurt again, judgment creates that boundary and creates a false sense of safety.
Yes. Okay. That's amazing. Thank you.
Yes, our thanks to you as well.
Next up, we have Manuela.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I have a couple of questions, but I'm going to start with one that I don't know if it's personal, but I'm going to ask it anyway. It's about my teeth. So I was wondering, what is really the problem? Why can't my teeth, why do I lose my teeth?
Do you take care of your teeth?
I try. I try my best.
All right. But you may not have been fully on top of that care routine.
A couple of years ago, yes, I got really careless, or maybe I just didn't made it my number one priority.
Yes. So in a sense, is that just as simple as fully taking care, fully setting aside the time to regularly brush your teeth, floss them even, especially if you are having issues, and as well to be aware of what foods you take in, as any form of sugar, even if it is a natural form, will erode the teeth quicker. And it is not to completely remove all forms of sugar, remove all unnatural kinds, yes, yet make sure, especially after consuming sugar, that you brush the teeth. And use, if you can, Ayurvedic toothpaste, something that is herbal in its nature and does not contain certain chemicals.
Okay, I'll do my best to do that as soon as I get actually properly treated.
Yes.
The second question was about the fear I have. I am at a job that I really don't like, but since I am the number one, actually I'm the only person who brings money in, I am really struggling how to change. I would really like to make myself have a business of my own, but I'm really struggling. So I'd like to, if you have any advice you can give me on that.
All right. Are there any other sorts of jobs that you could seek out right now?
My job is really exhausting physically.
Yes.
So when I get out of the job, I really need to stop. I can't have a second job. It will be really, I would like to have the strength to do it.
Yes.
So,
no, we mean a job to replace your current job.
Oh, there are other jobs that I could look at, yes.
Yes. Continue to seek out different options. Understand now that money is only one expression of abundance. Energy is another expression of abundance. Vitality and passion, excitement, is a very clear expression of abundance. So something that does not bring you as much money, but brings you more passion, will actually bring you more abundance. When you bring more abundance into your life, you also open up the doorway to other expressions of abundance to meet certain needs. So we wouldn't encourage you to sacrifice your well-being because you need, or you believe you need, this amount of money.
I see. Because I really tried before I got forced, per se, to go back to my job. I really tried to do that, and I remember asking you about it, your answer was quite funny for me at the time. The answer was yes, it was when my needs would be met, then the abundance would come. Yes. Funny enough, the only way I can get my needs met is when I am at the job that I really don't like.
All right. And none of the other jobs you looked for
I really haven't tried. I haven't tried another job because at this job I'm quite well. I'm safe per se. That is my struggle. How do I get to a place?
In what sense are you safe?
In the sense that it's a full-time job that I have. I'm sure I will not lose.
All right.
If I am to go to church a new job, I am not sure if I'm not gonna get a month to have a new one. And I have 3 kids, so it's kind of hard to be so much time without any income coming.
Yes. Well, why is nobody else looking for a job that could provide it?
Well, I guess the other person who could actually do it, psychologically, I think maybe more emotionally, is struggling with the fact that he really doesn't want to work for anybody else. And at this point in our life, we can't really afford to make a business of our own. But yes. I'm not sure if he's really ready. I don't think he's ready to make the step yet to actually go look for another job. I know that will be a great solution, at least in the meantime. I'm trying to push him to do it, but I mean, I can't own him. I don't know. He needs to make that decision for himself.
Yes. And at the same time, in a way, you are part of a unit together. So when you take on all the stress of responsibility, it creates a disharmonious balance in the unit. So you can, in a sense, express the need you have for relief, the need you all have for more security, and help him overcome some of the resistance he has to doing work for other people, finding him a happier place to go and do that, and at the same time, giving yourself the opportunity to seek other forms of employment that make you feel even a little bit better, even though you again face that degree of uncertainty. Understand what we have said initially in the beginning. When you seek certainty, you often perpetuate fear. When you find comfort in uncertainty, you open the space to embrace everything with love. So if you choose a job that feels better in the moment, even though you are uncertain as to whether or not you will keep the job, you actually help your frequency raise. You generate other forms of abundance that can in turn amplify the abundance that you have.
Okay. I'll try my best. Thank you very much.
That's our great thanks and love to you as well. We wish you the best of synchronicity in seeking new jobs, both of you.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Manuela.
Thanks to you as well.
Yes, we have several questions now queued up. A number of people would like to speak with you, Pleiadians, and the next person in the queue was Carissa, who typed a question asking the Pleiadians, are you Dante's avatar / higher / future self?
The last one of those things, the future self aspect, though understand that actually the entity coming through is a conglomeration of many other entities. So it is actually a blend of many different individuals incarnate at different times and spaces in the realm that you call Pleiades. And of course, as quasi-physical beings, our experience of time and space is much more malleable, and we jump into realities at various different points in time and jump back out into non-physical. So it is not in that sense an individualized consciousness, and therefore describes ourself as a council or a collective. And yes, these souls are part of the same oversoul as the channel.
All right, thank you. So next up, we have a question from Isabel. Isabel could unmute and ask the question.
Hi.
Hello, yes, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be talking to you right now.
Yes, likewise.
So first of all, I'm really happy with myself and proud of myself and the healing progress that I've been making in my life in these past couple months.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you. I did some breath work today and came in touch with some emotions that, well, wanted to present themselves to me. And I saw some very extreme anger and from something that happened to me when I was a very small child, of a very traumatic experience where I was fearing for my life. It felt like I was being suffocated, and have been carrying this post-trauma in my nervous system around for my whole life. But now I'm finally in the space to be able to take a good look at it. And I was wondering if you had any suggestions for a way to safely release all of this, or I mean, it feels so big to me that I'm almost scared to let the beast out, because it's this raging, it's a lot and it's really big. And at the same time, I feel like it's so big that, and I've been told this too, that it's something that might be difficult to just chip away at every day. That's something, but it feels like a bigger release is needed.
Yes. That is valid. And in a sense, both perspectives can work. You can simultaneously chip away and also create a safe space for a bigger release. There's no need to fear these emotions and these experiences. Understand that as they process through you, they may create a temporary experience of great chaos that makes the way for great beauty and ease and relaxation. In a sense, understand this deity in your mythology, the Egyptian one in particular, of Sekhmet, the goddess of simultaneously destruction and healing, who goes on a great rampage, a frenzy, and it is in a way very violent, but at the end, she transforms into the goddess of beauty and fertility and love. So in the same way, when you understand that this process that is chaotic and frantic becomes something of great beauty, you understand that what you are experiencing is only temporary. As for the tools we would suggest, yes, this breath work is very powerful. And also, we would suggest what you may know to be inner child work process. And it involves, through a guided therapist or on your own in meditation, to relive as much of the memory as you can, and also recalling all of the sensory experiences that you are able to, and then shifting into that scene as a third person, as your present self, and having an interaction with your inner child as if they are a separate entity. And as you go through that interaction, continuing to ask your child what they need, allowing them to release and express their emotions, validating those emotional experiences, and giving them the power to create in that imaginary reality all of those things that bring them joy, passion, connection, and concluding the experience by imagining this inner child dissolving into you, becoming a part of you again. And you can again do this with somebody else or on your own. You can also use the idea of plant medicine experiences as something that may catalyze this release, of course, as you create a very safe container. And in a sense, the combination of these three practices, as well as the preparedness and the willingness to feel intense emotion, will together allow this to transform and allow you to even go to a new higher level.
Great, thank you so much. That perfectly answers my question.
Great, our thanks to you as well then.
So next up, I have a little question
yes.
for the Pleiadians, and maybe it could have some ripples across the other listeners, but I had the opportunity to participate in a throat chakra alchemy Kundalini dance ritual on Zoom yesterday, and I really enjoyed the practice, just being able to move my body and bring energy around, and there was like some Shakti activation aspects, and it felt really great. It was a really lovely way to get mindful about my day. And what's interesting though is today I woke up with this massive crick in my neck. And so I just wonder, you know, without me getting too spooky or woo about it, what you guys think in terms of if I should think of this as a healing effect, or if I should just think of it as sleeping posture, you know what I mean? How much should I think of my current symptom in connection with the ritual that I invoked?
Well, even if it was relating to your sleeping posture, again, through synchronicity, sleeping posture will also line up with an energetic phenomena occurring at another level. Subconsciously, you'll be energetically drawn into a new way of doing things that can line up with creating a certain symptom. So yes, as you, in a way, transform and upgrade your energy system, symptoms are common, as oftentimes stuck energies that need to release express themselves through temporary blocked energy centers or cysts or various sorts of things that are manifestations of the energy that is being purged and released.
Yeah, beautiful. So to like for me to synthesize, make sure I understand, you're saying like my entire body, energy, mind system is in the process of integrating from what I did yesterday. And so it's all connected.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Isabel also says, I forgot to say thank you for the Sekhmet imagery. Perfect synchrony for me. Thank you, Pleiadians. So thank you from me and Isabel.
Very welcome, yes.
And next up, oh, were you about to say something, Pleiadians?
No.
Oh, sorry. Next up is Josh.
All right.
Hi, great Pleiadian Council.
Hello, yes, welcome.
I've had an interesting event 2 days ago where basically my reaction upon simply walking in the street has brought different events to me. And I've heard that every encounter to a certain degree is a reflection of oneself and one's energy vibration. So I would like to ask how, let's say, how accurate or how minute per minute accurate is this? Does it technically mean that every interaction that I have could be a potential message or reflection of what's going on within me? And then at that point, can I just take the time at home to clear what's going on within and then encounter a different set of vibrations?
Yes. yes, every manifestation of some sort of connection or relationship is a direct reflection of your inner state of being. And so, for example, it is quite common that you may be motivated out of nowhere to go outside and walk through the street, and that leads you to this sort of an interaction. The feeling of passion for you to do something was an attractive force to bring you into that manifestation.
Ah, that's amazing, because it literally started by that, just a random urge to walk outside at a certain time, and then back to back to back, this kind of interesting switch of, because initially there was an encounter with, certain people talking about fear-based information. Yet as soon as, let's say, that encounter was let go, then another more positive encounter was held afterward. So vibrations switch that fast.
Yes. Again, it is every nanosecond, billions upon billions of parallel realities. So if you meet a negative situation with love, you are bound to create a positive situation, sometimes instantaneously. And this is also relating to what you said, why we say that following your passion is a moment-to-moment thing. It is not your big long-term projects that matter more. It is every single nuance. When you have the sudden impulse to go walk outside, go to nature, watch a certain movie, eat a certain food, it is your higher mind speaking to you, telling you that following this pathway is the one of greatest probable expansion. And when you do, again, everything that brings you to feel greater passion, greater excitement and love, these synchronicities will become even more normal.
Thank you, Council.
Yes, our great thanks to you as well.
All right, I see Laurel has a raised hand. Laurel, do you have another question?
I do, if there's nobody else in line.
No, we could have you ask, and then maybe we could ask the Facebookers could have their questions answered after you, perhaps.
Okay,
all right,
great.
yes.
Okay, so I've had more anger coming up in the last few months than usual. I don't see that as all bad, because I know I have some throat chakra stuff that is still needing to be released, but I need to be really careful here because especially just lately, I'm having a lot of passion.
Yes.
I'm like, even in the last 3 or 4 days, some of it is very good passion, and
yes.
So, and I'm really aware that I think it was last week you mentioned in terms of my expression to kind of imagine Yesu being with me and as a guide for my expression. Well, I forgot to do that yesterday, and I expressed in a certain way to somebody at the credit union. There was this long line for financial benefit, and I went in, and I don't know about, I remember that the story about Jesus in the temple with the money changers, and I know that my passionate expression can be a very good thing. So I'm just wanting to navigate how in a way it's already answered if I would remember this guidance from Yesu, but if you can say anything more about the appropriate use of what we would call angry expression, i.e. passionate with compassion, and projecting anger onto people.
All right. Anger is useful when you channel it into some sort of personal release process or ceremony, perhaps writing it, perhaps even yelling, perhaps turning it into art. Perhaps you take time to consciously awaken and arouse this energy and learn how to be present with it and turn it into something. So in your communication, if you make others aware, I am feeling angry and this is what is arising for me, can we bring some presence to that? Then it can be a useful tool and expression, yes. Though to yell, to scream, or berate another person through the anger often creates more disharmonious vibrations in your life. And so again, as we say, when you consciously awaken the anger and learn how to be present with it without causing harm, you can communicate your anger in gentler ways.
Right, right. And could you say what the accurate information is around Jesus with the money changers?
We are not aware specifically of this story. Tapping into its energy, we have to understand it has to do very much with demonstrating non-resistance and compassion, yes, as many of these teachings do.
Okay, has something to do, I mean, in the Bible it says, I think it says he threw over the tables of the money changers, if I'm accurate on that. But
yes.
I don't know if that is accurate.
Yes.
And that kind of thing can be done, in a sense, I don't know if I would say.
When you are, in a way, having compassion, again, for the greater good of all, when you are recognizing an injustice at work.
Okay, right. Yeah, which leads me to the whole thing that's going on on the planet now about injustice. And so, there are some people that are saying that, of course, there's going to be like destruction of property at these marches for against racism, because when you get just a certain level of fed up and because nothing has happened over many, many years. But, I'm wondering if that sort of thing, how that plays into what you're saying. I mean, not everybody is saying that, of course. Some people are saying that, that the violence to property is wrong and not helpful.
Yes. It depends what sort of a property, really.
Okay.
If it is, in a sense, a symbolic property, like a statue, that in a way causes harm to some, but benefit to others, to destroy that is not an inherently negative thing.
Uh-huh.
If it is another sort of property that genuinely meets the needs of many, then to destroy that is not necessarily something that is causing a solution. It is not, in that sense, a genuine solution. And while you may have compassion for that action, that is not something that we condone or suggest it to be beneficial. Yet to protest, to demand justice, to express anger within the form of a protest is well and good and is beneficial.
Okay, so even the like the destruction of a statue of Confederate symbol, it's
that we see as positive.
Right, and I do get that, but it's like is it still without projection in a way? It's not like with pointing fingers. It's more like with the intent to just eliminate something that is racist.
Well, a projection in the most commonly described sense is to project something that is not genuine and true onto another.
Okay.
Yet this would not really classify as a projection because, again, this symbol in this instance is one that represents the oppression of a certain group of people, and also represents the killing of those who stand up for the oppression of a certain group of people. And therefore, to destroy that symbol does not cause anyone harm. It only brings good into the world.
I know how to ask my question. It's like, so it's like as you're eliminating the statue, for example, like to run anger through, I'm just imagining to run anger through my body in a way that feels like projection doesn't feel like exactly what I would want to do with my body.
Though understand then, when you are resisting the emotion of anger, you perpetuate it. And because you are resisting it in moments when it is not triggered, when it becomes triggered, it becomes much more powerful because you have spent so much time resisting it and forcing it down. It becomes something that is uncontrollable. And therefore, when you consciously arouse the anger and channel it through your system and become comfortable with it, when the anger later becomes activated, it does not become something you lose the ability to control and direct.
Okay. Thank you so much. That's so helpful.
Yes, our thanks to you as well. We would encourage you to go out there and get angry.
You would?
Play games with your anger. Draw with it, write with it, yell with it. Give it to the trees.
Oh, not, but you don't mean go out there in peach marches and get angry, but to just
if you really had something to march about, then go do it. Yes.
Oh, okay, but best to like find times that are volitional and work with this anger.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Our thanks to you as well.
Thank you, Laurel. So I think it's perfect universe timing to move on to these 4 beautiful Facebook questions that we received. And if anybody on the live Zoom is burning with curiosity, feel free to make that known. But otherwise, I'll go ahead and read what was shared. Yes. And there's some really juicy ones. So this is from, okay, Heather. Hello, Pleiadian Council, and greetings of great love to you all. I would like to discuss a lifetime that I experienced in a regression last week. In this life, I was known as Queen, which in reality was simply an adornment. My true role was to hold a vibration, an energy for the collective, to maintain it, and know or understand what modifications to the collective fields were needed and make them through my energetic system. My body's age was maintained at 28 years. My lifetime was that of over 2,800 years, many millennia. This time was 5132 BC in the region of what we may know today as Egypt. My decision to leave manifest form was based upon maintaining my energetic signature. There's a point that could not be crossed in a density. I stayed in this place until the ending of the time cycle, and then I ascended to maintain the energetic signature. I experienced the feeling of ascension through regression in my human body and was shown how it feels in your chakras as an energetic body ascends from manifest form as well, to what levels you can energetically work to without leaving manifest form. This experience also revealed to me that training with Lee Carroll and the Circle of 12 is a first step in my remembrance of these powerful and healing gifts in this incarnation as we begin again a new energy, a new time cycle. Could you further elaborate on that additional training of consciousness that I would enjoy? Also, to feel into my energetic form and address anything that is in need of release and movement within my systems.
All right. This training will indeed help you to embody greater levels of that ascension. It will allow you to find those personal anchor points to different initiations and experiences in that lifetime and also in others. And through those remembrances, start to share more of your energy in this realm as well. There may be many different soul encounters you have through that program that amplify your connection to that remembrance. Your energy system, in a sense, must learn to adapt to that greater degree of power that comes with it, knowing that in this lifetime and in those lifetimes, the power to energetically affect the world around you did not also lead to any sort of negative or authoritarian expressions, but was simply natural. Learning to adjust to that great degree of power will support you. And knowing to a large extent you're already doing this, especially with your family and your workplace, you are holding energetically a space that without you having to do anything affects those around you. So you can already play with this idea of how your own energy body comes to create more harmonious relationships, and how psychically you can be tuned into many other relationships that are occurring around you. Know that, again, this is not the only lifetime that will be revealed for you in this present time space and in the continued expansion processes you are going through at this time.
Okay, wonderful. So next we have a question from Jennifer. Jennifer is writing and saying, hello, please, is it possible to know why I cannot listen to my higher self or guides? I have had soul reading and I have a karmic emotional blockage in beliefs. How can I unlock it, please? I have heard 2 messages in 6 months. I would be grateful if you could help me. And many thanks, and I send you lots of gratitude.
Yes. The first thing we would say is then, have you fully, and we mean fully, applied the 2 messages you have received? Because how it works with your higher self and higher mind is that you are given the information you need to fulfill a task or to follow a certain trail. And once you fully complete the guidance you've received, then you can receive more guidance. But if you receive a message and you doubt it, or you don't act upon it, or you delay acting upon it, you cannot really receive a new message. What you would then say is that you may think that because many other channel their higher self through messages, that is what has to happen for you first. Yet you channel your higher self first of all through energy. You channel it through a feeling of connection and a feeling of love and passion. So in a sense, every time that you tap into that feeling of love and passion, you are channeling your higher self. Though when your mind starts to doubt that feeling or doubt the direction you're going in, then you block off the connection with your higher self. So you must truly, truly then anchor yourself into the unconditional love in the moment, and trust that the way your higher self communicates to you through frequency is appropriate. So the belief systems you must then unravel have very much to do with a belief that may say you are disconnected from source, or there is something in the way of your connection to source. coming to transform those beliefs into a realization of the inherent truth that you are always connected to source, as you are a part of source, and therefore could never be disconnected from source. And the other beliefs have to, again, relate to that idea of thinking your connection to your higher self must mean you have these certain gifts. Your connection to your higher self manifests, again, initially as frequency. When you believe you are inherently connected to your higher self, you can work with that frequency easier and allow it to express in the ways that are unique to you.
All right. So that was for Jennifer. And now we have a question from Elver. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Elver is asking, I have a question. I wonder where I should travel to for the next coming month. Where should I stay if there is another lockdown?
We cannot give you the specifics of that kind. We can only say, go where you feel intuitively called. Look to the signs as to where there are people who are experiencing lesser states of fear and greater states of love, and allow yourself to go there. Look to places where there is less restriction and environments that suit you the most, and allow yourself to be drawn there. In the moments of meditation and deep connection with yourself, you may receive the answers. It may help in a sense to visualize a great map in your mind and see the areas that light up to you. And trust again in your heart's compass, because it will always guide you to exactly where you need to be.
Thank you. So that was Elver's question. And now I think this is the last question I'm seeing on Facebook, but I'll check once more. Naf?
Right.
Yeah, Naf, I think that's how it's pronounced. And they're asking, thank you so much for your insights. So much misery is spreading on Earth right now. Is protest a good way? A revolution possible and a valid way for evolution?
Yes. Yes, but it in of itself cannot be the only way. So understand a protest where individuals are also following their passion and other means, and they are dedicating their time and energy to those things that fill them with joy, optimism, and hope, will be much more organized and coherent than a protest where individuals are only focused on the negative circumstances. Protests must strategically work to put pressure on those who are corrupt and oppressive. And if the protest is not being heard by the right people, the protest does not really serve a purpose. So it is very possible that if large groups of people said no to certain circumstances and said no to certain protocols that are being enforced in your world, that everything would change. So know that revolution is possible. Total transformation is possible, though it has to come from a place of powerful love. You have to be empowered beings that allow yourselves to realize the potential you have to experience and share and spread love. So allow yourself to be passionate about protesting, and allow yourself to also be passionate about everything else in your life that expands you and brings you great love and joy. And know that some things that you may be called to protest may not be things that are really relevant, in the sense that if they are too well hidden, too well disguised, and you are, in a sense, battling to what other people seems to be an invisible windmill, you won't really be serving a greater purpose. When you are very much aware of those things you have the power to change and those things that you don't, you amplify the potency of your voice.
Really
All right, then
enjoying
are
sitting
we
with that. But yeah, I believe we are complete. I don't see any other questions that have come through.
All right. This has been a wondrous opportunity for us to connect with you, to allow your Earth to access these higher frequency energies as we come to access the very interesting, very, very interesting, we would say, realities of your existence right now as it is. We are always with you. We are always accessible to all of you who would choose to expand the spectrum of your consciousness to reach us. And it would be a pleasure for us to meet you in those ways, as you gaze to the stars, as you dream, as you meditate, and as you do anything that brings passion into your heart. We love you very much. Our blessing is with you, and we will look forward to those other means of connecting whenever you would wish to establish connection with us. Wow. How's it going, everybody?
Good, good.
Beautifully.
Welcome
Hooray.
back.
Thank you.
That was so holistic. That was really wonderful.
Oh, happy to hear that. It was very fun for me too.
Good.
Should we press stop on the, this is my first time moderating, so if we could end the live stream. Do I end the live stream? Do I stop the recording?
No, it's fine.
It can be left.
I think the funny little bits are great too.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank you, Ocean.
Thank you for being a lovely host. Did you enjoy that?
It was so fun. Let's do it again.
It was great.
Yeah, you did really well.
I'd like to ask a question of whoever is still here. Because I just was wondering if anybody has a take on that last part that the Pleiadians were talking about. They were saying that, you know, when we do protests to find a way to put pressure on the corrupt, there's a way to protest and not to. Does anybody have any ideas about how that would look, that we would be marching in the best way to put pressure on the corrupt?
I think that message is meant to go out to everybody in their own way and get them to think. But what came to my mind as they were saying that was like, okay, you know, we have protesters right now, like Black Lives Matter and Antifa and all this, like it is putting pressure. But then like there's some people that are putting ideas out there, like we protest child trafficking, but we don't see that, you know, like the government officials aren't in control of that. You know, it's more of like a systemic issue of criminal forces. So for us to say we don't want this, like the criminals out there still doing that, they're like, yeah, sure you don't want that. We don't care.
Right.
What does your protests matter to us?
Right. Yeah, well, it certainly is something to think about. I thought of asking the Pleiadians, but we were wrapping up and I was shy. But you know, it's good to get, you know, human beings' perspectives too. Just you know,
kind of like last week.
What's that?
Yeah, last week, or I think 2 weeks ago, they've kind of hinted at this aspect of trying quantum activism. Kind of like the group meditations that have been happening and having very interesting effects after all. And that's been kind of like, I love that aspect because you directly target what issue, but you're doing it through your vibration.
Yeah, it's all about the vibration.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, you guys.
It's really cool.
Magical.
So many beautiful messages to like digest and applicable to each of us, right? Where are we going to choose to direct our energy?
Yeah.
That's true, because where focus goes, energy flows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are great times. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's so uplifting to be here on Fridays. It's so uplifting. It's like sometimes I think, well, let's see, I'm not sure if I'm going to go this week. And I said, well, I could just tune in for the beginning message, and then I'm like, oh my God, I needed to be here.
You're our most committed participant.
What's that? What's that?
Thank you, Laurel. Thank you for showing up every week. It's great.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hello. There's my beautiful girl.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi. Welcome. Good, and you?
Thank you. I'm pretty good. No complaints yet.
Our first time seeing you here.
Yes.
Beautiful.
I was listening a little earlier while I was doing the dishes, but people kept interrupting me with conversation,
cool.
so I didn't get to hear as much as I'd love to hear, but
Next week.
Next week, indeed.
Awesome.
Is it just Fridays, my dear?
Just Fridays.
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah. Okay.
Just Friday.
Come on, Jack.
All right, guys. Have a great day.
You too.
Have a good one.
Beautiful one. Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Anybody else? Or are we going to sign off? What's in the chat? I didn't look at the chat. Chat. Beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, I guess we leave it here. Donations always appreciated. Liking, sharing the video, always helpful. It's how this thing spreads, is just word of mouth, really. So the page Be Bliss on Facebook and the YouTube channel Dante Starshine is how we put that out there. I even have an email list I remember to use for once. So if you go to my website, you can sign up for the email list, and maybe I'll remember more to use my email list. We're doing a Reiki course theoretically in September. There's one person who's signed up, but it will change if we don't get like 3 or 4 people. So if you want to do that, let me know soon so I can keep planning that. And the channeling course will launch again probably in the beginning of October. If you would like to learn how to channel and well, really to develop a lot of intuitive healing gifts to kind of keep your own energy flowing and tap into psychic realms. So yeah, that's what's going on. And I'm hungry now, so good time to get going.
Have a good lunch, man.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Much love. Brrr.
Love bubble to you. Sending it out.
Yeah.
Or I'm making
All
this
right.
a love beam. Hey, thanks again, man.
Love beam. Thank
Love
you, guys.
beam. All the beams
I
at you.
appreciate you all very much. Yep. Enjoy your Friday.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Oh, this is cute. Where'd you get these? Those emery boards.
I can't remember, but I remembered where I got these earrings. I got them at the
So yeah, Ocean, you can just, I think you can end the meeting now. I think you're the host, so it'll automatically end the live and the recording when you end it.
Just end meeting, and the recording will go to you or whatever, or me. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah, you end it and end meeting and it's done.
Okay.
If you want it.
Nope.
Damn it, how about Aurora?
Nope. Got it.